Get outdoors with Mike Russell. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
AZ Firearms time. Check it out. All right. Here's what we're going to do. First of all, if you miss any part of the show, their podcast on KTAR.com, it's a little hard to find. I understand that. It's a little hard to find. If you go to the homepage at KTAR.com, you scroll down on the left side, it'll say blogs. There'll be a Get Outdoors blog. That's what you want to do. Click on that. You're going to scroll down a bit. It's on the right-hand side called On Demand. Okay, that's where it is. I've sent the link out a couple of times. It is a little bit hard to find, but we are changing our whole digital platform, so we're just kind of going with the flow. So I will guide you there. That's where you need to be. AZ Firearms joins us for a very, very special Mother's Day segment. I feel like a Lifetime commercial is what I do today.
We've got our coffee cups and we're sitting on the sofa.
Yes, that's right. We are chatting about moms and guns.
Yep.
Hey, look, you go back probably, 2 decades? We're about just short 20 years. By the way, that's when I was in high school. Cassie's looking at me judgmentally. I know she is. You go back that far. That wasn't really spoken.
No.
It wasn't. You weren't really talking about that 20 years ago. A mom with a gun? What are you talking about? A mom with a gun?
It's true, unless you were a farm girl, maybe.
Sure, right. In a very rural area and things like that. But right here in the big city, no way you're going to talk about moms with guns. You don't talk about concealed carry and things like that. But here in the great state of Arizona, we have amazing, amazing laws that protect us as gun owners. And I'm very excited to have Cheryl Todd with me here and
Hello.
Cassie Todd-Jameson here. She's the daughter.
Yes.
And a mom herself.
Yes.
It's a beautiful Ray Lynn, by the way, who I can see through the bulletproof double pane glass over there. Yes, I can see her right over there. So let's just set the stage if you could. I'm going to start with mom, if you could, and talk to me about that. Raising a baby, knowing that you're in the gun world. You and Dan have been in the gun world prior to her coming into this world. So what was that like, knowing now I'm bringing a baby and we're around guns?
Well, it wasn't the huge thing that it is nowadays. To be honest with you, I grew up in a household with a single dad, 3 brothers, and myself. We were kind of out in the boondocks in a place called El Centro, California.
Oh, good old El Centro.
Huge, bustling metropolis.
Yes, it is.
Not even at all. It was a tiny town back then, and we lived about 5 miles out of town. And Dad, being a single dad, was gone all the time working. And so we kids were just left to our own devices. I was the closest thing to an adult in the house. God love us.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So, yeah, it was interesting. But the thing is that we all knew where the multiple guns were in the house, and we're not at all impressed. There was a couple of small incidents where we felt like maybe we need to go and make sure we've got one in our hand, but never came to anything. And what I really want to say about that is my older brother, he could be on a desert island completely by himself and trouble would find him. Or he would find trouble.
Okay, good to know.
He's wrecked multiple vehicles. We had a Volkswagen Thing. You know how rare those are?
Rare they are. Not in Mexico. You can rent those things all day for like $2 a day.
Well, that's true. We were almost in Mexico, but he wrecked it. He's wrecked a couple cars that, sometimes he's been in with the bad crowd. Sometimes he was the bad crowd. Sorry, Bronny, I'm outing you a little. And never once did he ever do anything inappropriate with a gun, I think, because my parents put him in an NRA program when he was like 7 years old.
Right.
So he respected it as just a tool that did a specific job. We never needed it to do that job, so he never played with it. He never went and got it. What was your question?
Right. There's an NRA program coming to AZ Firearms as well, right, for the kids?
As a matter of fact.
I saw that today, and I was so excited because my kids are the first in line. They're going to be there.
Perfect age.
Yes.
Perfect age. It's the Eddie Eagle program,
yeah.
And it's for preschool to third grade, and they've got a fun little song
that my mom has been singing all morning.
Nice.
Because she watched the clip.
Take it away, Cass.
No.
Stop. Don't touch, run away, tell a grown-up. So anyway, it's an amazing program because it's right at the appropriate age level. It's colorful. They've just updated it this year, 2015, and they've added to Eddie's team with his wingmen. So it's super cool. We're so honored and excited to be bringing it to AZ Firearms. And Mike Abramovich, who is kind of partnering with Carrie Lightfoot, who was the amazing guest last week.
She was amazing.
He's going to be out teaching the Eddie Eagle and another program called Refuse to Be a Victim, which is another NRA program that's great for adults. But so getting back to growing up with guns, I just grew up with them. We were not impressed. We just knew it was a tool that did a specific job. And so then when Cassie was young, pretty much the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We just trained her how to use it. And I don't remember ever once you even telling your friends that we...
No, it wasn't something to talk about. It was just
there.
Like you said, it's a tool. We use it if there's an emergency.
You don't tell your friends about your dad's chainsaw in the garage. You just
absolutely not.
Because it's just there. It's just there. Yeah.
We never. I mean, I never even thought about if my friends' parents had firearms. I didn't go looking for them. I didn't ask them if they had them. It was. Why would I? Just like you said, would I ask them if they have a chainsaw in their garage?
Sure.
I would have no reason. It wasn't a glorified thing in the house. It was just, here it is. Do not touch it. This is what it does. My parents also took me shooting at a young age. And so I knew what they did. There was no mystery behind it. Mm-hmm. I knew what it felt like. I knew what it sounded like. I knew what it looked like.
You saw what it did?
I saw what it did.
Right.
Yeah, so I wasn't afraid of them, but I also wasn't needing to touch it and be around it all the time.
And now you're a mommy.
And
so when you find out you're going to be a mommy and you look around at your place of business, AZ Firearms and Pot of Gold, so it's all the same building. You're around there, and you know your baby's going to grow up in this environment.
Right.
Was there any concern at all? Was there any thought? Did you think, okay, these are the steps, or did you just sit down with your husband and say, this is how we're going to take it?
Yeah, we haven't had that discussion on like how we're going to handle this because she is still 10 months.
Yeah.
But I just don't see it being that much different than the way that I
She could probably outshoot me. So that 10 months. Okay.
No, but I mean, we have a gun safe and we have lock boxes. And like, I didn't have those growing up, but I think they're good tools to have. And my parents actually gave me one for my 21st birthday when I got my first handgun. And so we use them, and we will use those tools because it is an extra precaution, especially since we don't know what her friends will have been taught. We know what we've taught our child, but we won't know what her friends have been taught. And so we will lock them and keep them out of sight.
Right,
for
like
her
you should do.
friends.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
We got a text to 411-923. It's just a statement. It's awesome. I bought my wife an AR-15 for Mother's Day.
Boom.
God bless you. See?
Oh,
there we
my
go.
gosh.
And how about that for Mother's Day?
I love
That's a
that.
great gift.
Yes.
I've asked for firearms and ammo for my birthday and Christmas, and I like to get that as a gift. So
when Cassie asks for firearms,
they're pink.
Yeah.
I want them to be pink.
Okay, which is
I mean,
cool.
there's this like Tiffany blue one floating around the internet that I would
I
love
have seen
to
it.
have as well.
I have seen
but
that.
yeah,
You like the
she
Tiffany blue
likes-
as well.
Yes.
She likes the blingy.
Yes.
Now, Mom, I'm more into the tactical black. I'm like, if I need it, I don't want anything glinting in the light.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
But I do
Really?
recognize that there's probably going to be more of a conversation with my daughter Raylan because it's pink. You know.
Oh, good call. Yeah.
That just because it's not what grandma's gun looks like or dad's gun looks like does not make it a toy. And I think
Correct.
that that's actually an interesting way of, just like with toy guns, you still should treat them like they're a firearm and be careful and cautious and always.
Sure. You know exactly what's going on with that. Now, going back to this text, he bought his wife an AR-15. God bless you. You're doing the good thing here. You're fighting the
Yes,
good
he
fight.
is.
You got a promotion going on at AZ Firearms as well about gift cards.
Our very first ever Mother's Day sale. We've had a sale on Father's Day.
Black Friday.
Yeah, and Black Friday. And we thought, you know what? Let's switch it up for moms.
Yeah,
We have so
there you go.
many ladies that are really diving into the whole shooting for sports or for hunting, all kinds of things. And so our sale is you can buy a gift card and we'll take 10% off. So if you bought let's say $100 gift card.
Yeah, let's keep the math easy here for me.
Yeah, I know.
So I can
I'm like,
stay
wait a
with you
minute, let's
here.
pick a round number. $100 gift card, it's only $90. So that basically puts every single thing in our store on sale at 10% off.
That's pretty cool.
So, and really it was just for yesterday, but if anybody
come on
goes
now.
in today
Come on now.
and says they heard us on the radio,
There you go. That's
then
what I'm saying.
we'll extend that to you through today only, and then after that everything's normal.
And the shop
again.
closes at 5 today, so get in there now.
And what's the address, Miss Kazzer?
It's 215 East Western Avenue in Avondale.
Nice.
You're going to want to get out there and check it out. Now, I want to talk about this quickly. A quick little point, a side note here, is that if your daughter, your wife, your aunt, your grandmother, your mother, anyone wants to get the ladies of your life that want to get involved in shooting, or you want to get them involved in self-protection, or you want to get them involved in shooting, start there. Start at AZ Firearms. Just go there. It is the most comfortable, relaxed environment that you will ever see. And these people that actually care about you and what you do, not just, I made another sale today. That's not what you're going to get into. That is the right place. That's where I take my family. That's where you should take yours as well. Real quick, before we break, I do want to text to 411-923. It has come in. Who got you, Cassie, into shooting? Was it your dad mostly, or was it mom? Was it dad?
It was my dad,
Okay.
because honestly, he was the gun guy in our family, and my mom has slowly built into it. She was never against him, but it wasn't, like we've been saying, it wasn't a thing. It wasn't a passion for her. It wasn't her hobby, whereas it was my dad's. He's always been into gunsmithing. He's always been into firearms.
Since he was sucking thumbs and selling guns.
Sucking thumbs and selling guns, I guess.
Thanks
You
for
know, I think that's
reminding
what he
the
said.
listeners
Yes.
about
But he took me out
quotes by
shooting.
Danny Todd.
Yeah, he took me out shooting quite often, and there's lots of pictures of us out together, and it was a thing I did with my dad. And I kind of didn't want my mom to come with, because that was what I did with my dad. And then as I got older, my mom and I would go to, we went out to a women's shooting and safety class together, and that's actually when her and I started bonding in that way, and it was a lot of fun. And it was a ladies' night. A lot of ranges do that, and I really recommend it. It was a lot of fun.
Let's talk about. I want to take a quick break, but I want to talk about securing the guns. I want to talk about guns in the home. I want to talk about that as well, and then I want to get more into just the dynamic that goes in between the two of you when it comes to guns and moms for the Mother's Day edition of the AZ Firearms segment of Get Outdoors. And your calls, if you like, call in. You can ask them both questions. 602-277-5827. 602-277-KTAR is the number. More with the Todd family next.
Stop. Don't touch. Run away. Tell a grown-up. Stop. Don't touch. Run away. Tell a grown-up.
Yeah. There you have it. Now, what song is that? That's the NRA. Eddie Eagle. That's Eddie Eagle right there. Wow.
On the NRA
Yeah.
kids program.
Is that what my kids are going to be singing for an
Yes.
entire summer?
Yes.
After going to the class?
And you will be too. You won't be able to
Yes.
stop it. It's
Very excited.
in your
nice,
brain.
Nice pull,
That was
Bree.
awesome.
Well done. I thought we were going to another commercial. I guess we're not on, and there you go. Well played there. Wow. Okay. All right. Cheryl Todd and Cassie Todd-Jameson join us on the Mother's Day edition of the AZ Firearms segment right here on Get Outdoors. Really cool text came into 411-923. My father started me early with firearm safety using Nerf guns and to train range habits, something we did weekly at home until we're old enough to handle
Nice.
real firearms at a range. I've been doing similar with John, my son, and it's little Red Ryder BB gun
Yeah.
is what we're doing, trying to go with the range safety. And let me tell you, it's a process. It is a process.
It
Teaching your
is.
kids how to properly handle a firearm
Yeah.
is a chore because they're so
Indexing.
used to dealing with toys where there's no consequences if something goes wrong. Here now is serious time.
Right. Indexing the finger, like keeping your finger off the trigger. And that's just muscle memory, and focus. And knowing where that barrel is pointing.
Mm-hmm.
So Frank Mercy, who was on a couple of weeks ago.
He's awesome.
Isn't he great?
He's great.
He always says, think if you had like a laser that would slice things in half coming out of the end of that gun. If you think about it that way, and little kids, they get that because they can visualize that.
Frank's the master of analogies.
He
He's such a Jedi.
He is.
He just Jedi tricks your mind every single time. Let me and I did get you, by the way, Marcos, I did get your text. We are looking into a spot to engrave what you're looking for. So hang tight. We're going to get that information to you. We'll have it hopefully by the end of the show. I want to talk about coming up with your kids in today's environment. around firearms, where we have, I know, Cassie, one of your teachers showed Bowling for Columbine
Yes.
in one of your classes,
Yes.
and the language that kids are being exposed to and parents are being exposed to, it's much like my kid going to school with an AZ firearm shirt on, which he's tried to do, but we're like, okay, let's hold off on that for now. What is it like parenting in that type of environment when you have to tell them no? Listen to everything your teacher says. Do what your teachers say. But when they talk about this, we come from a different side of the fence. How do you work that out?
Well, the Bowling for Columbine, I was a senior in high school, and they played that in my government class. And I immediately started texting my mom. Can you believe what I'm watching right now?
Right.
In class. And the thing that I hated so much about that is they didn't show both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, it's Michael Moore. He shows his side and then makes up another side. Yeah.
And the teacher didn't show two separate documentaries to show both sides of it.
Right.
And so I know that I went home and we discussed it and we talked about it. But my parents have always been very good about talking about both sides, and for me to have my own opinions about things. And it's not just because mom and dad told you so. Mentality. And so I hope that I do the same thing with Raylan, because I hope she doesn't grow up to be anti-Second Amendment, but it could happen. But
those forces will be working through her school career.
It's around us all the time. And I think that we're slowly starting to hear that guns aren't bad all the time, but it's a very slow process, because it does seem like all you hear on TV and radio is how guns are.
Yeah, and you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that guy, though. You don't want to be that parent to tell your kids, well, they're just a bunch of hippie liberals. Right. And, there's a discussion that has to happen. And
sometimes we recognize that there are some people that a gun just doesn't fit in their life. It doesn't fit in their household, and that's perfectly fine. That's good, and it's good that you know that about yourself.
Stop right there. It's good that you know that about yourself. I heard both of you say that prior to coming on the show today, that it's good. If you're not comfortable with dealing with a gun, if you're not comfortable with having a gun in the house, it is great that you are so self-aware. Right. It's better for you not to. Right. Don't let someone pressure you into having one, because your mindset is already on the wrong side of safety.
Exactly. Just like we don't want to be told we can't have them, we don't want to tell people you have to have one.
Right.
Because if you're not comfortable with it, if you don't know how to use it, that is not safe. And we don't want that, and you're not comfortable with that. But we do encourage people, if you're interested, come in and learn. Find a place to learn about it, because it doesn't have to be something that you're afraid of. It can be a very useful tool, and also a fun thing out on a range, or if you like going hunting. So there's so many sides of it, and I think that all of those sides should be discussed in classrooms too. It doesn't have to be all we hear about is the bad thing, because guns were never even brought up in that class, at all. And then we watch Bowling for Columbine
out of the blue,
and I'm just like, what does this have to do with anything?
Yeah.
Where are we going with this? And then there was no other side of the topic. And
yeah, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's a good point you bring too. By the way, there's hunters, plenty of hunters, plenty of outdoorsmen out there that don't have a gun at home for safety purposes. For self-defense. Yeah. They lock their 30-aught and their 270 and their 30 up in a gun safe, and then that's it. And that's where it sits until it's seasoned. That's really it. So it's good to have people that are that aware and what they're comfortable doing, where their comfort level is in having a weapon in the home. And this being, we're about to celebrate Mother's Day. It's good having two of my favorite mothers right here in the studio with me. We just have about a minute here. I'll go to you, Cheryl. And what is your advice out there to the moms, even to any parent right now, bringing up a kid around guns in the home?
Well, definitely, there's some great safety equipment, gadgets out there. There's trigger locks, there's gun safes, that sort of thing. All of that stuff is great, but nothing is going to take the place of good old-fashioned conversation and teaching. And, when Cassie texted me and she was like, we're watching this really slanted thing in school, and I said, well, that's let's take the positive. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down into, the language that's used. And I think we'll have a show on that coming up sometime soon. Just, when certain faction uses common sense. Well, they've kind of hijacked that phrase now, because if you don't agree with them, then what? I don't have common sense? So things like that. Just talking to your kids, keeping the line open.
All right. Well, thank you very much both for being. Happy Mother's Day to the both of you.
Thank you.
Hey,
Happy
the
Mother's
Rosie on the House crew, the Romeros, are joining us getting your man cave dialed in next.